Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Paige and today I just thought we'd go through all of my 5-star reads of 2020. I think I probably talked about these in wrap-ups to some extent, but I only started this channel in June, so there is definitely going to be books on this list that have not been mentioned on my channel. You guys don't know that I've read. In one sense, this is a way for me to document all of my top rated books of the year so far, even before I started this channel. But it also kind of acts as a recommendations list for you guys. If you know that you like the sound of these books, or you know we like similar books, then maybe give these a go. They'll probably be a 4 or a 5 star for you. So I'm going to go in chronological order from January through to now. My reading has dropped off a bit in the last few weeks, but so far I have read 10 5-star reads this year, which I think is pretty good. I'd say I'm having a pretty good reading year to have 10 5-star books by August. I mean, maybe that's not a lot, I'm not sure, but I'm very picky with what I give a 5-star, so I think that's a lot. Anyway, let's get into my 5-star reads of 2020 thus far. The first 5-star book that I've read in 2020 is The Wild of Ascension by Sanderson. This is the second book in his Mistborn trilogy, and the reason I gave this a 5-star, and it's very rare for me to especially give second books 5 stars because they're usually terrible, let's not lie, but this really explores consequence in a way that I've never seen a book explore it before, and it could be because this is an adult fantasy. Yeah, just the exploration of consequence was like chef's kiss. So if you don't know, Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy focuses on like an alchemy kind of magic system. So there are people that have the ability to burn metals. So they have to swallow the metal, and then if they are a Mistborn, they'll be able to burn them up and use them to give them powers, basically. And most people in the world can only burn 1 or 2 metals, and then Mistborns can burn all of them, and they're very rare. And naturally, our main character is discovered to be a Mistborn, and she's taken in by this group of like thieves who are trying to overthrow the Lord Ruler. So that's like the premise of the first book, and in this book they've overthrown the Lord Ruler. Sorry if that's a bit of a spoiler, but we kind of saw it coming anyway. And it's about how they deal with it now they're in control and they have to run a kingdom and like figure out how the hell they're going to keep their power and consolidate their reign. And it just really explores how every decision that they make has like a butterfly effect, and it's just handled so well. I also love this because it has a love triangle element that doesn't make me want to kill myself. It's actually kind of acceptable in this case. This is the only love triangle that I've read in the past couple of years that I've liked, and that's saying a lot. If you've seen my book tropes I hate video, you know that's saying a lot. Big 5 stars for this. The next book that I read in 2020 that was a 5-star is a book that I should have read way before 2020, so I'm not going to dwell on it much because I guarantee you've all read it. And that's Fangirl by Rowel. This is my first Rowel, and it definitely makes me want to read more of her works. If you're unaware, this is about a character called Kath, and she has a twin sister called Ren, and they go to college, and Ren decides that she wants to be way more independent. She doesn't like want to live with Kath, she wants to find separate friends, etc, etc, and Kath is having a really hard time dealing with this. So she kind of turns to her fan fiction and just kind of launches herself into that, and it's about her navigating a college setting and making friends and growing up and moving on from her fanfiction and how she's learning from it. And it's just a really, really cute coming of age story. I didn't find Kath to be particularly relatable. I don't have much trouble finding friends. However, that didn't detract from my enjoyment of it. I still found her relatable in other ways, probably because I used to write fanfiction. Yeah, I really loved this. I really fell for it. The next 2 books are both part of a series, and that is the Princess Diaries 6 and 8. I don't quite remember why these 2 specifically stood out as my favourites within this series, but I just remember like squealing with excitement, and like I was just so excited to read them. These ones just really stood out as my favourites. So much drama in these 2, I think. Don't ask me why I was reading the Princess Diaries at the ripe old age of 19 years old in 2020. I wanted to read them. It was the start of lockdown. I needed the comfort. So those were 5-star reads for me. Probably undeservedly so, but I'm going to stand by my ranking. The next 5-star read, my first few videos on this channel, this book was mentioned in all of them, and this is 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is about Evelyn Hugo, who is this mad 1950s Hollywood glamour star, and all anyone ever talks about is the fact that she was married 7 times. They don't really care about anything else she's done. It was just the drama and the romance surrounding her life. And she decides to hire this girl to write her like biography. So we get to hear the full story and she's willing to publish it. And Evelyn Hugo is just such a complicated character, and despite the fact that she's kind of horrible, you really root for her and you understand why she makes some very cutthroat decisions, and you just root for her and you root for the romances, and something about this was just really compelling, and it's again really stayed with me. The next 5-star read of this year is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Again, I spoke about this in my Books That No One Talks About video. This is the supernatural romance of your dreams, okay? It's about a witch and a vampire falling in love, and it means that the demons and all the other types of supernatural creatures want to kill them / break them up because different supernatural beings are not allowed to get involved with each other. It's so beautifully written. The romance, you just really root for it, and you're like, oh my god, it really, I cannot wait to read the sequel. I bought it, I just still haven't got around to reading it yet. The thing that really stood out to me about this book is that Deborah Harkness is a historian of science. So every claim or like power that she brings in is backed up by historical science and philosophy, because obviously there was a time when people were trying to investigate if mythical creatures existed. So yeah, this just really stood out to me for that reason. The next book I'm going to talk about is controversial, and I'm going to defend it to the death. And that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne. I know most people think this is a 3 stars or less, but no, it is a 5-star read, and let me tell you why. The world building, impeccable. The understanding of how President Snow goes from an idealist to a product of the state, impeccable. Everyone complains because they think that the Hunger Games in this was boring, or something along those lines. As the audience, we are supposed to be the Capitol. We reflect the Capitol in the original series because we are really interested in the Hunger Games, and it's really fun to read about and we want to see what happens. So in that sense, we reflect the Capitol. In this book, the Capitol isn't interested in the Hunger Games. They don't really like it. So as the audience, we reflect that, and the Hunger Games isn't supposed to be particularly exciting. It's about how President Snow becomes this villain and turns it into something exciting. I think this book accomplishes exactly what it set out to do, and I don't understand why people don't like it. The only like minor issue I have with it is like the pacing can be a little off at times. But I just think it's incredible, and I'm gonna defend you, I'm gonna argue with you about why this is a 5-star, and people are going to change their minds, and this book is going to get the redemption arc that it deserves. The next 5-star read of the year is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. We all know that Morgan Matson is my bae. I love her. I cannot wait to read more of her work. Please tell me that she's not like quit writing or something, because I need more of it. This follows a young girl, and her dad's a politician, and he has this like big political scandal, and it means that like her summer internships and stuff, they all fall through. She's like this type A student left with nothing to do for the summer, and she ends up being a dog walker and like meeting new people and like building better relationships with her friends, and you have her learning to live with her dad for the first time because he's usually not around. There's a Great Pyrenees in this book, and Great Pyrenees are a dog breed that I love. And yeah, everything about this book is just cute and fun. You fly through it. It's really adorable. It's my favourite Morgan Matson thus far. Everything about this was to die for. The next 5-star read of this year is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is about a woman who had a relationship with her teacher when she was in school, and he's now under investigation for having relationships with students, and she is having to deal with the fact that she might have been taken advantage of. It might have been abuse rather than this like huge love story that she believes it to be. I just think this is a very poignant book. It really has stayed with me, and I think everyone should read it, especially in regards to the Me Too movement and stuff like that. I just think it's a really prominent / poignant book. The manipulation and how the teacher's manipulation of her was really handled well. You could really understand how someone in that situation may not know that they were in the situation. So yeah, just very important read. The next 5-star read of this year was Mythos by Stephen Fry, and I think a huge aspect to my enjoyment of this book was the fact that I listened to the audiobook, because Stephen Fry's voice just really brings it to life. He's so comedic, and you can tell he's so invested in these stories, and he really like makes it clear which ones are his favourites and which characters within Greek myth are his favourites. And this book is special in that Stephen Fry doesn't try to interpret the Greek myths or anything like that. It's almost a work of fiction in that he's just sitting there telling you the stories of the Greek gods. He goes from the Titans to the really, really minor Greek gods, so you're getting such a wonderfully in-depth understanding of the Greek myths. And yeah, I just really love the audiobook. I think he was really funny, and I think he really brought it to life, so definitely check that out. And the final and most recent book 5-star read of this year is House of Salt and Sorrow. I've spoken about this before. I really adored this. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and it's really dark and eerie and set on this like island with like a docks and water, misty setting, you know, it really is so atmospheric and stunning. There's like a magical realism element, and like there's gods involved. I don't know what mythology this is based on, but I need to look it up. It's probably Norse, but it was really beautiful, and I'm going to be rereading it in October, so you'll hear about it again in my October wrap up. I guarantee you that. And so those are my 10 5-star reads of 2020 thus far. I hope we can continue the momentum of 5-star reads, because I'm very picky, so it really is a surprise that 10 books have made it so far. If you guys have any recommendations for me, do please let me know down below, because I think we can see from my books here what my reading taste is like now. If any of you want to argue with me about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes down below, I guess I could be okay with reading why you dislike it. We might end up having beef, I won't lie, because I feel very passionately that that book should be a 5-star rated by everyone. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Do let me know what some of your 5-star reads are down below, any recommendations for me. Please do like and subscribe if you're new here. I didn't say that at the beginning, I'm sorry. I post every Wednesday and Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.